Well, it's the best of 2023. Hey, Coach, how are you?
Val the voice. I'm like, you know, chilling.
You chilling, huh?
Like Martin said, I'm just chilling.
Oh my gosh, that is phenomenal. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm having a wonderful time just coming back from a wonderful trip. And man, oh man, it is time
New
to get
York, New York.
New York. It's time to get started. Man, oh man, the best of 2023. I can't believe we're at
We
the
got we got
almost
the
at
we got
the
the best
end.
of right here, Val. Me and you, we are the best of right now.
Oh, we sure are. Yeah, me
Come on now.
and you.
Hey, hey,
Yeah,
read,
that guy right
read,
there.
read what that shirt says real quick.
I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew who I was. And that
I knew
must have
that.
been
Bam, bam,
Ali.
bam.
Woo!
Hey,
Bam, bam,
block and
bam.
tackle. I knew I was the greatest already, Val. They ain't know.
Exactly, exactly. Well, it's time to get going with this updated situation. Let's go.
Shit. Man, hey Val, this is gonna be like
Hey.
a pot of gumbo.
Oh, it sure is.
You
Today
know, you got
is
gumbo. You got a pair of Converse in the gumbo. You got some Adidas in the gumbo. You got a little bat's tail. You got some oxtail. You got some goat. You know what I'm saying? You throw everything up in the gumbo. You make me like
I,
the Three Stooges.
I don't know nothing about no goat. I do know about oxtails. I got a chance to taste a little oxtails while I was in New York. But other than that, man, I don't know about no goat. No
Yeah, I don't
curry
know
goat.
about
I
no
don't know
goat.
nothing about that.
I don't know nothing about goat but Billy.
The Billy goat, you're too funny.
Billy. I don't know. Bad. You better go on with that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly, exactly. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Well, let's get into it. I want to just briefly mention where I was earlier in the weekend. And guys, give us a shout here in the chat and let us know what's going on. Let me see who is in the virtual building. Give a shout in the building. Here we go. I
Keisha.
see Queen Lakeisha.
Yeah, my
Hey,
girl.
Queen. Always good to see you. I've missed you. I usually host a show and I didn't get a chance to do it because I was on the plane. That's how busy your girl over here was. She was on the plane.
See the
The
brand new
Willis,
Tom Joint.
and then of course we have Daniel Nelson. Good to see you, sir. And then also Alejandro. Alejandro,
Alejandro. That's La
grace and
Familiano.
peace. That's right, familia. The family. I like it. And then of course Mr. Springer is here. Good to see him. He's always giving us greetings from Brooklyn. We appreciate you so very
In
much. And
Brooklyn
of
in the
course,
house.
Brooklyn was definitely, and I was in their house over the
Okay.
weekend. All right. And very quickly, hey, our Interludes Extra is presented by Find Your Voice on Patreon. Join our community via Patreon today, via patreon.com/interludes. And of course, let me mention this. Coach is with us. He's with us the entire show today. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
And then, of course, we got 6 days to Christmas, man. 6
Hey, on my
days.
6th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. I don't know what she gave, but it wasn't no diamond rings. I can tell you that.
And then, of course, why he give you a diamond wing? Why says what's happening, fam? Good to see you. And I
What's
see
up, fam?
Gia. Hey, Gia. Good to see you.
Chill.
Welcome,
That's my
welcome.
girl. Clarksville in the house, Tennessee.
Oh man, we are all over. We're in North Kakalaki, Maryland,
Man, you know,
Berkman,
the crazy part,
VA.
Val, is what you just said. This is a year in review for the fans, for us, the show. But I mean, it's really like we're down to like the nitty gritty, and we're gonna
Yeah,
be
we are.
we up
Yeah,
out, hey, we're gonna be up out of here. You know, hey, don't meet me there. You better beat me there. You know what I'm saying? I remember. You just think about it, Val. We're almost 25 years removed when everybody thought the lights and everything was gonna go off in 2000. Remember that?
yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
like,
We're
hey man, I want
23
to
years removed from that, and we don't have to
get
worry
out.
about that anymore. No, we're
Yeah.
good. No, we're good. I am excited. Over the weekend, I got a chance to see Alvin Ailey. Have you ever seen an Alvin Ailey performance, Coach?
No.
I
Okay.
mean, 65 years of greatness, I have to say. So that happens every year in December, with the exception of 2020 because of the crazy. They have a month-long performance, and they've switched some folks. It used to be Robert Battle, but he just left, so now they have somebody else. But Judith Jameson, Alvin Ailey, he created this concept 65 years ago, and I got a
Wow.
chance to I got a chance to
Where's the have it at?
the city center. You just saw it,
Oh,
just
okay.
outside.
Sister,
That's
yeah.
the city center. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
stepped out and took a picture of this. I was like, I get it
That's
with my good
nice.
camera.
Yeah, with the good camera, right? With my good eye.
With my good eye. I had to get it with the good camera. And I got a chance to see it with three of my close friends, Yaki,
Hey y'all, I see you. I
Roxanne,
see
and
you.
Audrey. Huh?
I see y'all having some fun right there with your girls.
Exactly, exactly. It was kind of, and the funny thing, I used to organize something like this to go see Alvin Ailey just about every year, and of course the last couple of years I didn't because I wasn't there. But I actually took a trip literally for this experience. So if you have never experienced Alvin Ailey, ladies and gentlemen, you need to do yourself a favor when it comes to your
Check it
town.
out.
Head and give it a check out because I'm telling you, I've been watching this since my CBS days. So we talking 30 plus years ago.
That's a minute. Hey, don't be dating me. Just date you.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay
Right.
with that. Let us know what you guys did over the weekend, and Coach, what did you do over the weekend?
Man, it was fun. It was crazy. Got a chance to hang out with the fam, play a little pajama party, kick it wet with the grandbaby. One of my granddaughters, she's sick. Oh, if I don't shout her out, she's
Oh,
gonna jump all over my head. Shout out to my granddaughter, little Miss Skylar Wilson, 6 years old, trying to get her playing basketball. And then of course a brand new baby around the corner. That's Miss Olivia that I call Friday. Like the movie Wednesday, I call her Friday. So,
why you call her Friday?
well, Val, that's what my daughter asked, but I just told her I can do that. You see what I'm saying? But she was born in a tough situation and
Mhm.
came to us on Easter weekend on Good Friday. So it was
Okay.
lucky for me. And all my lucky numbers and all my kids are born in July. The number 7, my basketball number when I play is Kappa Alpha Psi, number 7
Okay.
online. So that 7 is a good number. So grandbaby became Friday.
Oh, that's so
So
sweet. Oh
And
my
that's going to be a
goodness.
story that she and I developed as she get older. I don't care what her mama say. Mama named him Clay, I'm gonna call him Clay.
Oh my gosh. I want to talk about this story. This was one of the stories we were covering over the year, or first part in March when the story broke about actor Jonathan Majors.
Oh
My
yeah.
goodness. Now I have to say, we covered this a little bit earlier in the month because over the last 2 weeks, Jonathan Majors was on trial for assaulting his girlfriend. Now, as you stated and told me earlier, there were a couple of things that he wasn't directly accused of, but now, unfortunately, he was convicted on assaulting his girlfriend, and now a Manhattan court has found him guilty of that particular charge. And as I was telling you earlier, that unfortunately he has lost his contract with who is this with
Marvel.
with
Marvel.
Marvel. This is pretty major. and ironically, his name is Major. So this is, so thank you so
Yeah.
much, Kevin. He put it in the chat. So your thoughts on this, because we had talked about this. I really wanted things to work out in a different way. What were you thinking?
Well, the thing is, I got an opportunity to do a few more um, flip backs after you and I talked today. Went back and kind of looked at the CBS News a little bit, pulled up some things. Did you know, Val, that this actually started more as a misdemeanor?
Yeah.
A misdemeanor that turned into a felony crime, assault. And now, unfortunately, we as the new Americans, we no longer are innocent until we proven guilty and able to move forward. We are now in a court of new appeals that no matter what you say, how you do, when you do, why you do, and where you do it, you are now guilty and you got to prove to somebody else that you didn't do something, which is absolutely insane. Now, I'm not saying the whole scenario situation didn't happen because obviously I wasn't there, neither were you. But just looking at the reports from the TV, looking at the video, it appeared that there was a situation, there was a struggle in the car, the automobile, elevator, but it felt from the jury's perspective that he was running away and she was chasing him. But something that kind of struck me, Val. Did you know there was I think it was only 6 jurors in this case?
I found that number was a little
Uh,
low, and I just didn't
yeah,
understand it at first. So I
I,
wonder
I
why it
didn't
was only a few.
I didn't need it because once again, because it was a misdemeanor case. So in a misdemeanor situation, all you gotta do is basically persuade a judge. Not really that, but because it had money implications to it, that behind this. And now the other thing is, now that he's been found guilty and moved from a misdemeanor to an assault, he's actually got an arraignment with a judge in February. So this young man now could possibly be facing jail time, Val.
And jail is a place that I don't think he needs to be. Now, see, what I was, when I was following part of the case, there were a couple of either recordings or things that came to light that wasn't directly related to the incident that he was defending and trying to, clear his name for, but it was he had some fits of raids that was recorded. And I was thinking, who recorded him and why did they have that open or whatever that was? And then it's he was freaked out, and I think it was he shared that with his ex-girlfriend that I'm
Right.
a person, I'm trying to get work, and I'm trying to work on this, and it's just a lot of stress. And however you deal with that stress, it's not any rights for you to place your hands on anybody. It's
Correct.
just no violence, no assault. You should
If you
definitely
want to
go
hurt yourself,
and get some help.
hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead, do what you got to do. And they shouldn't. But Val, what
Mhm.
have I been preaching all year? Well, what's the one thing that I've been saying, even when my guy Wamba was here before he left? When
Mhm.
we look at mental illness, is it mental illness or is it stupidity? Because some of these killings early on, the invasion on the White House, and the running over people down in Charlottesville and beating up people in churches and bombers and shootings and all that stuff. It's one thing to be a copycat. There's another thing to be a copycat, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're just trying to make a name for yourself. And then there's another reason to actually be mentally ill and or sick and need help. So we need to continue to figure out these things, and this young man is on mark. Now, I don't need to be funny about it. I know maybe you said earlier, but if he was a real superhero, then none of this would happen to him.
And here's the thing. All of the I've been following his career since Lovecraft Country. That was a series
Yeah,
on HBO Max. He was in a show that both myself and Michael reviewed just last year called Devotion. And then, of course, we reviewed earlier this year Creed 3.
yeah, Creed 3, yeah.
And that was really some fun times. But I have to say, as we roll on with our best of, as and something I think April told me, actually helped us get some great guests on the show. He needs prayer, so that's what she wants to do, and I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do the same thing too, because it's not a good situation for the girlfriend. It's not a good situation for Jonathan. we won't get a chance to see him continue
Right.
in the space of being the villain or the fun villain on
Sure.
the Ant-Man and the Wasp and the other, other parts of the Marvel universe. But keep in mind, Marvel is Disney and Disney is
Right.
Marvel. That's the
And,
Mickey Mouse.
and then you got to partner with Disney as ABC.
And no.
So, so you got to look at all. Now, I don't want to start an argument. I don't want y'all to be sending up emails and texting out there. But me and my buddy was thinking out today, just kind of thinking out loud behind this. I kind of told him you and I had talked about this a little bit. Have you noticed that our African American entertainers, rappers, movie stars have been going down one by one by one? And I have yet to see one white a white actor, songwriter, anything of that nature going through any of the things that African American brothers are going through. Have you noticed that lately? And then somebody asked me today and put a question to me that I'll put to you. Do you think it's because with the election coming up that these African American entertainers and actors are being sought after? Because somebody put a perspective to me today as if I take out this young man, he's got hundreds of thousands of followers, right? If not millions.
Mhm.
So if I get the masses mad at the majority, then we don't show up at the poll, right? And it can come down to a smear one vote or 100,000 votes. But if I take out Val got 1 million followers, I just take out 10% of her followers and 100,000 people don't vote, then I'm okay with that because that's 100,000 people that I'm not worried about. And if I do that times 10 of the people that follow Val, I got 1 million people not at the voting ballot. So I don't know. That question was thrown at me. I said, man, that's a great question. I'm gonna throw that at Val, kind of get a two-way thinking process, see what she has to say about it.
Well, I have noticed that there has been a lot of entertainers, um, and in fact, recently, and a very disturbing video that I saw on IG. One of my favorite actors, Christian Keys, went on almost a 1 hour rant on some of the things that he's experienced in the industry, and it broke my heart. I found myself pausing and praying because I'm thinking, we don't know what people go through to
Right.
bring us great entertainment on the sports side as well as entertainment side, and no one should be harassed. No one should be, you know, um, talked about or well, that's going to happen, but just anything yelled at. The other thing on the sports side of things, I checked out, and as throw it back to sports, Russell Wilson, the quarterback for the Denver, him and his coach, it was not necessarily a two-way exchange. It was kind of a one-way exchange, and it's coming
Yeah.
mainly from Coach Sean, and I think he didn't say too much. In fact, I didn't see Russell saying anything to him, and this was something. This was after, I guess, either the first or second down, and there was an error
Right.
on on Russell's
Russell
part.
there.
But
Yeah.
how do you think Russell handled it, and is this a reputation that Coach Sean has with in Denver?
Yeah, but Val, you and I mentioned this a little bit earlier today, and again, this is one of the big reasons why primetime doesn't want to come to the NFL, right? Because as a college coach, I can coach you and I can control the scholarship that you have and I can control your playing time, right? I can
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the time you're on the field is based on what I think you need to get. When you're a professional, these guys are sometimes making 5, 10, 15, 20, and not 100 times more than a coach, right? And what's the good old saying, Val? The fans did not come to see Val coach. They came to see Coach Tony play, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you look at that situation, that could have been as easy as, something, I'm not going to do this right now. At the halftime, come holler at me. And we deal with this in the locker room, behind the scenes, that keeps Russell head in the game. They turn around and get blown out and doing this and that. Why? For no such reason. But you got a young coach, Val. You got a young coach. So if he was still in Seattle with Pete, this would never happen. The Pete ain't gonna do him like that. So
Right.
if he was in Seattle, it wouldn't go nothing to that sort. But because he's got a younger coach, and because they're still learning, he just got there from Seattle, and the coach is still learning Russell's ways, and Russell's still learning his ways. You sometimes, unfortunately, have a what? Boom, class of the Titans.
And to me, here's the thing: we had mentioned congratulations to Russell and Sierra. They just
Got a
celebrated the
brand new
birthday
baby
of
girl.
a brand new baby girl. And here's the thing, Russell, I know has definitely talked about himself being a Christian and just really showering love on Sierra and then definitely her children. That's not his, but just kind of making it a united family. And I
Yeah,
feel
future.
like right. And so here's the thing: I feel like he allowed him just to do his thing, or, the coach do his thing and yell, and he was standing there not really reacting. And I really respect the fact that Russell did not like challenge him or go off on him as well. It's like he stood there, and I was thinking, and people were saying, "Oh, he looks like a punk because he's not saying anything, or maybe he's feeling the brunt of their loss, and they
No,
could not go to the playoffs." And I'm thinking, but the play happened. There was a
right?
mistake,
Correct.
and
Get on.
cameras
Move
are on
on.
you as a coach. Cameras are on you. What? Yeah, as you said earlier, have that conversation
Locker room.
in the
Let me
locker
tell you
room.
something, Val.
Yeah,
I talk to my players, and as we coach and we're in practice every day, and I call my players, we talk to them, we text, we talk, whatever that may be, in course of coach to player relationship, right? And the one thing that I never want to do is embarrass me or my players, right?
okay.
What I see is Russell on a bigger wave, and here's the reason why. He just came off this faux pas with Future, right? Earlier this year, because this is one of our earlier this year stories, right? In the whole scenario. He didn't swing back at Future. Remember, Future went on and put out a track
Yeah,
with my man, uh, um, with the Migos. He dropped the track. Yeah, this, that. And what was Russell's clapback? Why you rapping, my man? I got your son out here on the football field playing Daddy's Day, right? We ain't in the streets with the pistols and guns. We ain't doing none of that. We out here
right.
learning how to be an athlete, something I know that's going to get him paid and something I know I can open the door. So when you look at this situation, you got to also look behind. Who's on the sideline? His son or his stepson. Who's watching? Who's seeing everything? That's what I'm on my basketball players about. Y'all watch too much NBA. You can't do what LeBron do. You can't snap off like Draymond Green and hit somebody in the head. Why? Because they're millionaires. They can afford the $200,000 fine. You ain't got 20 cents, let alone $20. So when you're looking at that, I give kudos to Russell because, again, as a coach, Val, and a coach's hat, you're always talking about your players. I just told my players last week, if you can't take me, Val, coming to you 6 inches off of your nose or your forehead and me telling you what to do directly in your face and giving you something I like or dislike, this is the wrong sport for you because you have not developed that heart for the game. Because if I'm coming to you as a coach, it's not personal. It's about business. And the problem is you made a bad business decision in my mind that didn't get us a first down or a touchdown. And in your mind, you're saying, well, coach, what are you talking about? I couldn't get us a first down or a touchdown because what you didn't see is my man right there on Val's side didn't block my man, and he was coming through the line. So either he's going to tackle me, I'm going to take a loss, or I had to throw the ball out of bounds. So I chose to throw it out of bounds, forget the down, so we can at least play the next down. So that's probably a lot of factors that went in there. But overall, I was really, really glad professionally how he held his ground, understood, and he sit there and told everybody as a quarterback, right? We always talk about the quarterback is the most difficult position on the team.
It is. It
He's
is.
he's able to take that tongue lashing, which is a thought process, and that's a great thing to get to the young kids. Because if he'd have snapped off Val, then the next kid is coming up. just watching him, but it did the same thing.
Exactly. One of our guests that we had earlier this year kind of talked about uh, just that thing about being playing in the NBA. We had the pleasure of having NBA All Star and Chicago native
Oh, man,
Terry Cummings and
TC, baby.
coach. Before you get going, let's take a look at the clip. One of
Yeah.
the directions that you just went on in a very early part of your career, early part of your life. If I saw and read this correctly, that you became an ordained minister by age 17.
Yeah, yeah. Because
I'm assuming
that's
I'm
something.
assuming Lee didn't. I'm assuming Lee didn't influence that at all.
Well, actually, he did, because he was the first one
Okay.
in our immediate family that went into ministry. He used to pull people off the
Okay.
streets because he was a hard-nosed kind of cat. He would pull them off the street, take them into the basement, and share Jesus with them. And people were, lives were being changed and things like that. But he didn't hang in there with it, during that time, because Lee had a whole nother mindset for the streets and the girls. And shoot, I was a late bloomer in everything, because I learned real early that you have to discipline yourself and focus on something long enough to be good at it. And my mom said this to me, and I never forgot it when I was leaving college to go pro. She said to me, she said, "Terry, don't worry about your friends." She said, "You go and do what you're supposed to do and be who you're supposed to be, because when you come back, they'll be right here." And she ain't lied.
Right.
You each one of us have to make that choice for greatness. Greatness is not something that you're just born with. It is an idea initially, but that greatness comes to life when you step out and throw your line in the water and say, "Okay, I want some of that too. And I'm going to do what it takes to be that."
Man, that is that. First of all, I'm going to say what's up to my cousin, JSU, Jackson State University, Dr. Derek Burgess, my cousin, Val. We had him on the show earlier this year
We
in the
sure
house
did.
tonight, pulling up on the reunion. Hey, Derek, chill out now. This ain't Atlanta Housewife or Hip Hop Miami reunion. This ain't that show. Get that later on. Hey, but you know what I like that Terry said right there in his piece, Val, and that was, I put down on my notes, Terry's show was the most meaningful show to me, in terms of substance with
Our
everything.
longest too. It was our longest too.
Yes, and most informational, because he gave out a lot of kudos, a lot of tidbits and stuff. If you took a little of this, if you took a little bit of everything he talked about, shit, you could turn around and make a human being out of it, because he gave you a little bit of everything from the streets to the ministry to the school to the NBA, players he liked, who didn't like, who he want to go upside their head, everything. So, but like you just said there, your mom and my mom and everyone else, the same note I gave my kids. I just talked to one of my AAU parents the other day who has a kid who they've been tied at the hip for 6 years, Val, since 7th grade, 6th grade. And I said, hey, unfortunately, when you become an athlete, that's the one thing that you do in life that at one point in your life, you're going to have to separate, because what I have in store for Val is not in store for Coach Tony. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And that's what Terry was talking about. We always see, as he said, when he came back from playing, college to the pros, some of those same guys, unfortunately, is no longer on earth no more. And some of the other guys are stuck in the same place and never got out of what they did. So Terry's mom gave him, a good bit of advice.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it was. We definitely want to thank Miss April Wheaton White for the connection, and definitely introducing us. And we what was good was that we were able to kind of talk with Terry a little bit before the show. And here's the thing: there were questions I know I wanted to ask, but because I was thinking unless it's uncharted territories. If it's not about the NBA, I'm not going to ask about it. But then I found him being open and sharing. And then I was like, I didn't know that. Like, and your questions, coach, is always insightful because it's like you were able to say, this is where we grew up. This is how we were able to, play at this particular playground. And
Yep.
this is what happened when we played against these competitors. And
Yep.
how hard he worked to be in the NBA, and that in every young boy's dream at one point, if you have any skills in basketball, you want to make it to the NBA. And definitely Terry was one of those that made it and did not drop his Christian values.
Not at all. And Val, I'm gonna rewind what you just said about 2 sentences. When you're sitting up in Chicago, Chicago's funny. New York's got the boroughs and they go borough for borough. We go block for block. If you're a true Chicago guy, we go block for block. So we don't have a boroughs. We want to know where you're from, whether the hundreds or the low end or the west side, wherever, southeast. And when you are in that clique, like I was, I had the opportunity to be in that clique, that basketball clique, being able to play with some of the best ball players to ever come out of the city of Chicago and go on to the NBA, some in the Hall of Fame. And when you know those things and you know the paths that they took, like my guy, Ben Wilson, unfortunately, never got a chance to see the path he's going to take because we may have never, ever, ever, Val, seen the likes of Michael Jordan because there's nowhere in the world, I know Chicago, they were going to pass on Ben Wilson if he came out of Simeon to DePaul, and he'd have been right behind Terry Cummings in that DePaul uniform to put up some great numbers. So to see Terry talk about that is phenomenal. And what I liked about it, which is what April alluded to, his path, Al, wasn't always a clear path.
Right.
He had those stumbling blocks, right? He had those obstacles. He could have went left, like you said, because he had that temper. Then he had that older brother, and I remember Lee, man, God. But the cool part about it was he said what? What did he tell us that was important, Val? They knew he played basketball, and they told him, you got two choices. You can go play basketball, we're going to look out after you, or we find you in these streets, we're going to beat you down. And he took the path of least resistance. That was playing basketball. And he lived to tell the story.
Exactly. And like I said, this was a very interesting and fun conversation, and definitely one to check out at one point or another. Another conversation that we had, I had with Michael Wamba when he was here, was with Aretha Miss Respect Tatum, who,
yes,
I'm telling you, man, she now the season has now hit over 1 million streams on Tubi, which is phenomenal, right? At the time,
we gotta bring her right back in.
We gotta bring her right back
up in here.
And her and part of the cast last week celebrated a little bit of the success of season, and of course did like a holiday version of it. I didn't get a chance to attend because I was away in New York, but here is when she and Tracy Kincaid, a friend to the show, and they came on the show and spoke to me and Michael, and I think they were in the middle of rehearsal. Take a look to the show, and that is Miss Tracy Kincaid. She's here. Woo, Tracy!
Oh my God! Hi guys.
Hey, and we're catching you mid rehearsal. Is that right?
I had to step into a closet, guys.
Oh no! See, the things that people will do for you, Val. They'll a lot of people trying to come out of it. You stepped into one, and we appreciate it. You're coming out of rehearsal for Seasoned. Tracy R. Kincaid, the songstress, the soulful singer, is also an actress, and she is one of the stars of a show on Tubi called Season, and there's over 500,000 streams. Amazing. I'm part of that 500,000. Miss Respect, Rita Tatum, she's still working on a rehearsal coming in to. Oh, she's stepping in. Oh, here we go.
There she is.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. All right.
Hello.
Hello. So we have both one of the stars of Season that has started its first season on Tubi.
And we're excited because Season is a dramedy musical series. And I said, well, we have all this great original music in this series. Why not do a live showcase and highlight the phenomenal Chicago talent that we have in our series?
To get this series done, what did it take? What did it take, Aretha? Because I feel like you have this drive. It takes a certain type of drive to get a production done. What would you say to that?
It took a lot of faith. That was
there you
it.
go.
We've come this far literally by faith. As the song says, leaning on the Lord, because you're talking about no real budget, but God made a way one step at a time for us to be able to do it. And he blessed us to have some amazing talent that said, hey, I see what you're doing. How can I help? How can I get on board? So one by one, the musicians joined us, more cast members joined us, and people blessed us with venues so that we were able to shoot. So it's been a phenomenal journey to get to this point. And again, it was a faith walk, because often we think we got to have everything all together before we make the first step. But we made several steps, and God brought it all together.
That's powerful, Val. I mean, that's like, hold on, let me get my bow and arrow real quick. You know, I mean, that's the reason you are listening to my girl right here, Val, the voice Johnson, and you already know your boy, Coach Tony, on Interludes Talk on Tuesday. Val, another thing you know, 492 subscribers, 8 more subscribers from 500. So you guys, if you're on the show tonight, please like us. But more importantly, hit that subscribe button. We trying to get to 500, baby. We trying, like Martin Vaughn said, I'm trying to be like a brother at a gas station with a cigarette and a match. Boom, boom. I'm trying to blow up.
That's what I'm talking about. We got somebody saying nice, loud clapping, boom, boom, back boom, in this boom, thing.
You know what's so cool about that, Val, on that interview that you and Wombo had, is that I don't think, just me personally, I don't think we always give enough kudos to our Chicago actors, actresses. You know, I think we have a lot of people out of Chicago that do a heck of a phenomenal job. You know, one in common, a rapper to actor, you know, musician, philanthropist, community service guy, you know, Tate, you know, I mean, Lorenz Tate. I mean, all that stuff. I mean, we've got some guys doing some pretty big things, and Chicago is put on. But we've done a lot of good stuff this year, Val. And that was a nice interview.
And we had a good time having them on. Tracy has been on, just number one, to promote a lot of the music that she does, because she wrote one of the title songs for it. And because now the show has become very popular on Tubi, which means advertising, which means all of that. And I got a chance to see Aretha. There was an event that was here that was sponsored by the city of Chicago for entrepreneurs, and she was there. And so we sat down and talked, and she's like, I'd love to come back to the show. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to have you back on. And so Aretha Tatum is someone that used her faith and definitely encouraged everyone. Like, we're gonna make this series, and we're going to encourage people, no matter where they are in their life. It's never too late, and that's what was the genius behind Season, the title, and then really using a lot of Chicago talent for music, for acting, for filming. And Dre, who was behind the scenes as well as in front of the scenes. So yeah, this was really inspiring, very inspiring.
Patty LaBelle said it. Music is my life. Got to keep on stepping, right? Man. And sometimes that's what we have to do. You know, we sometimes see that big, you know, I like that piece in the interview when you asked her about getting on, you know, as an older actress. And she said, you know, led by faith in God. Sometimes, you know, you can do this all your life and you don't get an opportunity to do anything and have a door open up. or you can quit and go home, put your tail between your legs, or you can sit in and know that the work that you put in, and at the moment that somebody tell you that you can't do it no more, or the moment you're ready to quit, just on the other side of that door, there's an opportunity waiting to happen. So you sometimes got to wait just a few more seconds. The opportunity comes about. I see that every day in what I got right here in the Rise Studios with what I'm doing with my NIL company. You know, I was ready to pack it in a while back, you know, and all that. And I just kept making phone calls, Val. And, you know, I know growing up in the city of Chicago, we have we don't have a lot of what in the city? Grass. So mama always said, don't let a lot of grass grow under your toes, baby. You're from Concrete City. So we keep it pushing, keep it moving, keep it hustling. And, you know, every time you talk to me, I'm always doing something. And when you continue on the right path, you know, God opened the doors up as long as you see you doing positive things.
And definitely, we talk with more actors and actresses. Paulette McDaniels, who's from Chicago, and that was great to talk with her and find out about her long career in acting. And also, we talked with a few other folks and musicians, definitely, because there was a strike that went on for about almost 6 months. And so we got a chance to talk.
Was it the longest strike?
I don't know if it was the longest strike. It happened for a long time. So a lot of actors, a lot of, I want to say writers, they were not able to promote any of their stuff that was out because they were fighting for the rights for them to get paid via streaming and other ways. And then also for not to allow AI to be used either for their image without their permission, and then also to steal those jobs away and say, oh, we'll just put in all of AI. We don't have to hire anyone. And
exactly. Well, we saw that last week with our young guest, right? We saw that last week with my cousin Demetrius, you know, Jarman. You know, he's out there balling. Man, I love it. Thank you for guys for coming on. Him and my other nephew, and Caleb Jenkins and Reek. You know, we talked to those guys last week, and you know, and just on the rap side of the house, you know, as you pointed out, Val, when you asked that question, you know, back in the day, you had to go to the store and spend $3.99, $4.99 for an album. So 1 million people had to go buy 1 million copies, and they got paid their money based on the money coming in. Now, you go sell 1 million records and you barely get 20 cents of $20 because the payout is totally different.
Right. And I think the example that was given last week when Reek and Demetrius was here, we talked about Snoop Dogg and how he had over 1 million streams and only had collected 45,000. And I'm thinking that really was really tough. One of the singers and people that we had on was also a great friend to our one of our, I like to call her people that market and love the show, Jesse Campbell. He was funny. He was so funny. He got a chance to be on The Voice I want to say about a decade ago, and then talked about kind of some of the things, how music inspired him and his brand. Let's take a look at one of the clips from earlier for that. A lot of people are not familiar. Your father was a minister and was very well known here in the Chicagoland area, and you were around music all of your life. I heard some wonderful interviews done with you, and you spoke about the Winans, and they were at your house. Kind of walk me back with being around music and being inspired by literally the church and kind of the gospel roots of it all.
Sure. Well, we had a very progressive church on the west side of Chicago. We had a beautiful, powerful choir, and Dad was one of the most, if not the most, powerful preachers in the city of Chicago. So whenever these gospel groups and artists would come to Chicago, they'd always come to our church because we had these midnight musicals, and it was just one of the top places to be. But a lot of times, some of those artists would stay at our home, and the Winans were the most frequent guests. And they were just fun, loving. Mainly, it was always Ronald and Marvin. And so one day, because they love to play video games too, so we were all just video game buffs, especially Marvin Winans. He did not like to lose. But one day, I'm walking around the crib, I'm doing my chores, and that's when they heard me. And we were on our way to a choir rehearsal on a Tuesday night, and I said Ronald, but Marvin said it was him. But Ronald said, "Hey, y'all, Jesse can sing." And my dad was like, "Jesse can't sing. Jesse's a drummer." And I'm 16. Like, how could you not know I sing? Man. But fact of the matter, then Marvin said, "No, Jesse can sing." So my dad made me learn the song at the choir at choir rehearsal that evening. And the first song, I believe, was "I Know the Harvest is Ripe." Real hot voice as a 16-year-old. "But the laborers are few. You need someone who will work until the day's through. I hear your call. And if you want someone to go, I'll go."
Hey.
I'll go. Send me, I'll go. And that was the beginning of it all.
Man, he had me turn on my house music that same night, man.
We sure did. Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
He had me turn on my house music that night, and man, he had inspired me because I told him, you know, when he and I sit down and talked a little bit, you know, and of course I don't know this until, you know, I saw the NWA movie, but I said, man, I remember when Snoop Dogg, Warren G, and Dre was at that same thing. They went to that party, man, on the movie, and Warren G told Dre, "Hey, man, my boy Snoop Dogg can sing." They're like, "Man, I mean, can rap." Like, "Man, he can't rap, man. Get up out of here, man." He's like, "Man, seriously, he can rap, dog. You need to let him go." And it wasn't until later on in the movie when obviously Dre tried to bring the guys in from New York, right? It was supposed to be seen cruising down the street in my 6'4", dropping, you know, and they like, "Man, this is old whack LA. We from New York." And once they broke out and they started doing everything they had to do and they dropped that track, once Snoop was introduced to that group and 187 came out, you know, Undercover Cop, his first album, first single from the movie with Lawrence Fishburne. You remember, you know, it was a great deep cover. It was just great. So to see Jesse in here with us, when he got the drop in that track, I'm like, I'm having reminiscences of like Frankie Knuckles. You know what I'm saying? I'm down. I'm already down at the powerhouse, girl.
And Jesse's also a Chicago native, and definitely just hearing his story and how he persevered, got a chance to be some of the people that became one of the finalists on The Voice, and just kind of talking us through that entire experience. Because, you know, a lot of people think, oh, okay, if I make it on television, at least, you know, I'll make it. Something will happen. And unfortunately, that didn't quite go in that direction. But God continued to bless Jesse and grow his talent, even through some hardships and challenges. He has a beautiful grown daughter that he helps and supports. And so it was great to have Jesse on, talk about the challenges of you know, performing, singing, and currently right now he has his own YouTube channel, licensed music, and sings it in his own voice, and it sounds phenomenal. I meant to get his permission so I could show one of those things. But Jesse Campbell, one of our great interviews from earlier this year. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah. And I tell you the funny part about that whole interview, I was laughing because, you know, we got Jesse Campbell, the house singer. Remember, I was like, "Hey, now was that you singing the house track? Come on, house will bring it up. House will take." I was like, "Wait a minute, that's you singing this house track?" So the tidbits was what you just said, Val, about the daughter, about a situation where he was able to reach back, help his daughter. Now think about that. Remember, you and I were laughing and joking when he talking about the Winans, and they all stayed together.
Yeah.
They got that. That's like Marcus and Jeffrey Jordan talking about my daddy is Michael Jordan. And his neighbor stayed over, and now the guy like 40 years old telling the story. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Yeah, and and just to know that he grew up in this musical family, and then they just thought, oh no, you're just a drummer. He doesn't sing.
Right.
You never know who's watching. That's the key.
You never know. Again, that's why, and I remember when you said that to Jesse, and he said that's why every time. I remember he said when he came out, Simon Cowell didn't want him on the show.
I didn't know
hey,
that.
I got to break out my top voice, my best voice this day of this. I got to do what I got to do on this show, because sometimes you get one opportunity to make it, and again, as a coach, I don't care if I'm in sports, entertainment, political, whatever it is. If you sometimes step out and don't bring your best act, don't try to bring your next act, because your next act may not make it, because I don't need your next act. I need you to bring it today, because there may not be a tomorrow, right?
That's correct. That's correct. And like I said, he's one of the reasons why I started this particular platform, and definitely the Interludes podcast, is just to encourage folks to continue to live the dream, especially if you're using the creative talents that God has blessed you with. Oh my gosh. We've had so many students on. If you could talk a little bit more about Rise NIL, that was a great show discussing name, image, and likeness. And we had a lot of questions regarding that. But just if you could just talk about some of the student athletes that we've had on, and some that you've represented with Rise NIL.
Val, I tell you what is so funny. We're gonna get in that 50 years of hip hop too. Can't lose that piece. But that was just a phenomenal. Cause go back to what Jesse said. It's kind of like he inspired me at that particular point, because you and I had been talking for a while, and I got really frustrated. I had tried to launch off the brand. I was doing the podcast. I was still coaching, working, and just trying to. And it got to be that I didn't even know who Coach Tony was no more, because I was trying to figure out how to divide 24 hours up into 4 situations and still get sleep. And, and you and I were talking one day, and, I jumped on your morning show, the After Set, had a great time with there, talked to a few people. And, and after that, believe it or not, I called Terry, and he was like, hey, Coach, you know how it is in sports. If you give up on the season, then you're done. You might well look for your draft pick. But if you continue to fight hard to see, you never know at what point of the season things are going to turn around. And I kept driving hard. And I have my athletes on, and Brooke, Gilliland, who's a tremendous volleyball player. We just had her on a few weeks ago from Belmont University, doing the amazing things she do. And Val, 20-year-old young lady, sophomore, getting ready to be a junior. And she's getting ready to rewrite the history in terms of kills at Belmont University. And she was chosen on the all-tournament team this year for the Missouri Valley. That is not and more importantly, she got me watching volleyball.
I know.
I sit up the other night, literally, excuse me. I sit up the other night and I literally watched the Texas and Nebraska volleyball championship game in Orlando, Florida. It was amazing because of what she's doing. And then, I turned and I looked to my left, and then I got this young lady, Malika Chinyeri, who's a phenomenal. She's absolutely phenomenal. We brought her on early in the year, back in January, February. And then we saw what she did 10 months later, Val. And the young lady, now think about this. You and I, at the beginning of the year, what if we were closing this show out tonight and up for an Emmy Award for podcasting? Somebody said, oh my God, they grinded. This young lady talked to us, and then within 10 months later, she was not only talking to us, she was no longer playing her age group. She's playing 2 age groups up from 14 to 16. She was receiving a Hall of Fame inductee award. She was receiving a Sportsman of the Year award. Wow. She won 16-4, playing against 16-year-olds, and she's 14-year-old. And she signed to my Rise NIL. And by the way, Val, you ever know, We just signed a deal as of yesterday. I just brought her a tennis opportunity with Yannick's tennis brand. And with Brooke from Belmont, we signed her to Anatomy Leisure Wear, which is in the same category with Lululemon. So it's been a great opportunity for the company. Really working on some big things. I got some more athletes coming and some more opportunities. Again, as Kevin Springer puts into the box for us, go out to my web at www.therise, as you see it right there, RIZENIL.com, if you want to know some more information about getting paid as a college or a high school athlete.
Yeah. And like I said, that was one of our popular episodes here. I remember a lot of folks were asking about, what does NIL stand for? And to kind of get that broken down was really, really cool. Very quickly, Merle Code, he was one of the guests that we had on earlier in the year as well. He talked about his book, Black Market. And what was special about having him on as a former agent and talking about that?
Merle, my guy. Matter of fact, what's so cool about the brother is, get an opportunity to meet him. He just checked on me the other day, which was phenomenal. After the tornadoes went through Nashville, I don't know if you got an opportunity to see that while you was in New York. It was pretty scary last weekend, Val. The tornadoes came not too far from me. And fortunately enough, me nor the family or friends of mine was in the path of any of that. But just to get the guys that are real, not let me jump on your podcast just to be doing something, but the real cats. And Merle, again, what makes me so upset about this particular story, Val, when it came on, is because without him getting locked up and going to jail, I don't have the opportunity to open this company right here in Rise, right?
Wow.
It took me a minute to kind of put my head around it, but this brother right here was on the forefront of the Zion Williamson story, which Zion Williamson is playing with New Orleans Pelicans. And this brother right there was on the forefront of taking a fault for Adidas, Nike, and these other guys, and some of these other coaches. But he knew he told the truth. So just because he refused to snitch or really refused to give up names, they ended up locking him up. And then they tried to ice him out. But, a good man can't be held down. No. And while he was held down, Val, he wrote that Black Market and personalized the book for me. And I've been pushing it ever since. It's a great book. For those that did not get the opportunity to purchase it, go on Amazon Book, type in Merle Code, The Black Market, and purchase that book. You'll be very, very informed.
Thank you. Kendrick said this to us, Yvonne. He said that podcast award is coming. And I told him, from your lips, Kendrick, to God's ears, thank you so very much for the encouragement. And then, of course, one of our who's going to now end up being one of our future sponsors, Eric, is in the building. He was giving us a fist bump. He's originally from Chicago as well, and we had him.
That's my boy. He's my boy. So
exactly. So we had him on the talk shop, and he is a transitional coach, and uses a very specialized way to help people out in that regard. And so I just wanted to give Eric a shout out. Thank you so very much. And ever since he's been a guest, he has supported the podcast and come on and definitely has helped me in the sports arena, like with the comments, like, oh, let me make sure I put that up because I don't know what I'm talking about. No, I'm playing. I get great education.
you keep knowing what you're talking about. And Val, we cannot close out or get down to the back end of this show about talking about back to your piece on entertainment in 50 years of hip hop. I tossed up. I had a very difficult time tonight, Val, because I was going to wear my shirt that looked like this. You know what that is right there, right?
That is, I don't know what that looks like. That's a good question.
That's the
Literally.
Wu-Tang symbol, girl.
Okay,
That's
Wu-Tang. All right, there you
the
go.
Wu. So I was tossing up wearing that Wu-Tang shirt tonight, but I knew entertainment is your piece and sports is mine. So I had to come out with Ali and tell everybody I knew I was the greatest before I was the greatest. You feel me? So
I feel you.
looking at that and looking at the
Mhm.
50 years of hip hop to Jesse and the other artists we had on, and then what the Grammys did this year and the bounce back for Will Smith. The bounce back for
I
Will
was
Smith.
just, I was just,
How did you
yeah.
feel about that?
That was one of our videos that went viral. I didn't get a chance to get the clip necessarily for that, but I think it was either last week or the week before. You and I talked about 50 years of hip hop, and we did. I think one of the last shows of this year that the one decided to honor that anniversary, produced by LL Cool J and Questlove from the Roots.
Yep.
One of the closing performance was from DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, which is AKA Will Smith. And
Willie.
I have to say, you have an excellent publicist, because literally in March of this year, the Selective Outrage at Netflix special that came out with Chris Rock, myself and Michael Wamble, we went ahead and reviewed it, I think right after it streamed live on Netflix. And that was one of our most viral watch shows, about 32,000. Yeah,
wow.
I'm sorry, 3,200 views. And so we were totally shocked by that, because all we were doing was kind of giving our opinion on what we thought Chris was talking about. But how things have turned. We reviewed and talked about A Class of '88, the brand new podcast that Will has come out with Jazzy Jeff. And so it was good to see him and Jeff united on the Grammy stage, and also a reminder that they both won the very first Grammy in the category of rap. So so I think he's got a great publicist. He's turned some things around, and you got people on stage there. You can see, we said this on our other episode, that people are like, hey, slap who? Slap what? No, we love you. We remember you from '88. We remember Parents Don't Understand. We love Summertime. We love these other songs.
Summertime. I told you I was going to be mad if they didn't drop Summertime. I was going to be. Now, I love Will, but I don't care what he say. It's still Class of '86 in the mix. You already know. I ain't even going to argue about that, period. But I love them, because them boys, well, I was on the, oh my goodness, I ain't even going to go back. Girl, you almost had me have a flashback, Val.
I didn't want you to have a flashback. I'm sorry.
I almost had a flashback. Hey, but I'm telling you, when Will and DJ Jazzy Jeff came out, with Parents Just Don't Understand, way before they got down, and it was incredible, and I thought that this cat, it was hilarious, because on the yard at the time, 88, 89, at that time, to me, it was all about KRS-One, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Public Enemy, and Rakim and Eric B. And of course, you mix in the white guys that no one thought can rap. That was one of the most phenomenal groups ever to come out in rap history in terms of white artists, in the Beastie Boys. So those 5 artists kind of like had a hold on that late 80s when it dropped. And then once Will and those guys dropped in 88, and then here comes NWA in 89, it just won a whole nother ball game. But what I really respected, Al, and you and I talked about that early on, I like how Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, they was kind of like the Sinbad of comedy, right? They made it big without cursing, Yeah. And the only other artist that I compare them to that did that is Heavy D, right?
Yeah.
And Heavy D had a song called No Curse. Remember that?
He sure did.
Almost cursed. So if you don't know the history of that hip hop, man, learn it. Don't talk crazy. Don't talk about the old school. And again, speaking of old school, fast forward in this tape to Mr. Kevin Springer, and Val, I sent it to you earlier today. For those listening tonight, if you are not familiar with the Tiny Desk concert series, I am telling you, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but I'm yelling at you. Go on YouTube tonight, type in Tiny Desk series, and click on Scarface on Tiny Desk series. I talked to you earlier today, Val. One of the best Tiny Desks I've seen from an old school artist in a long time.
Let me let you in on something. A lot of the artists that you just mentioned now have new stuff out right now.
Yes.
New stuff. There's a new song out from Belle Biv DeVoe, and it features Run from Run DMC. There's a new song out with Arrested Development with Speech, and Chuck D is on that one as well. It's like it fired people up to go back and record, and so we hope to have Speech Thomas from Arrested Development on next year. He was one of our early.
That's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he was one of our early folks that came in 2021 with me and Michael. But I sent word out and was like, "Hey, we saw you on 50 Years of Hip Hop." He's like, "Oh, I'd love to come back." And so that is one of the artists that we're happy to have back to talk about his new work that he has with Chuck D and everyone else that's recording. That we knew back in the day, and they're like, "Hey, we still got the fire. We still got something to say."
Them boys little known to me right here, Val. They in Bowling Green, Kentucky. You feel me? So
exactly. And of course, and Mr. Springer is already on top of it. He has put it in the chat.
There he is.
Scarface on Tiny Desk.
That's
so
what I like about my boy.
Yeah,
that's what I like about my boy Springer. He on. Hey, I'm telling y'all right now, K Springer, my man, owned it. Again, Interludes Talk on Tuesday with my girl right here, Val, the voice, and your boy Coach Tony. Subscribe, like us. That's why you continue to get this good information, because you are on this show, and we cover a conglomerate amount of things. I think next week is it next week? No, next year. Me and Val actually.
So before you go down that road, we're taking a break. We're taking a nice 2-week hiatus. I
was talking about that rocket ship that you're gonna take to Mars. You forgot about that?
I didn't know anything about the rocket ship to Mars. You gotta let me know these things.
I talked to Elon Musk. We good.
So Monday, January 15th, we'd love for you to pull up, and that would be the Pull Up Podcast. We did a little preview of music on last week, and so Coach Tony will be with our folks that love sports. You could pull up in the first, second, third, or fourth quarter of the new show. I'll be executive producing, but he will be the main host and be talking with some great folks. And so Monday, January 15th, we're hoping to go ahead and launch.
Yes.
And then we'll be back on next year, and that will be not the 2nd, it'll be the 9th.
There you go. And we're going to do it big time, Val. And for those that pull up with me on the 15th, here's a couple things that's special. First guest opening the show, Val, is none other than my man, Quanzo Martin. Has been a mentor to me. For those that know that name, ex-University of Tennessee, ex-Missouri University coach, and Mr. Big Ten from Purdue University. Got some things very spiritual, Val. You're going to love it. Very spiritual brother. Been lead my way down the path of good things. Then we come right back with none other than a member of the illustrious Kappa Alpha Psi, and my guy Travis Williams, ex-coach at Tennessee State University. And by the way, Val, he has launched the HBCU Black All-Star basketball game, which they have now contracted that game to be played on the same weekend as the Final Four. Look at that for some television publicity. So I got a packed show. Make sure you tune in. Pure Lighthouse. We're right here. We're going to keep giving it to you.
Right. And Kendrick was wondering where can he go to watch live. And I wanted to let you guys know at least the very first episode of the Pull Up Podcast will stream here on the Interludes YouTube channel, but also Coach has his own YouTube channel. And then, of course, his popularity is on Twitter. And then we're hoping to get him going on Instagram. Woo!
I got the gram.
So,
I'm gonna get the gram. We're gonna roll the gram out.
Oh gosh, this has been a jam-packed episode. I am so happy, real happy that we were able to do that. We're wrapping up. What you got?
Hey, I'm dead serious about what we talked about. I got a date in mind. We're gonna do Vegas. We're gonna do Vegas in 24. We're gonna let y'all know. Pull up on us in Vegas in 24. That's all I'm saying.
So we're the prayer is that we're able to get to see Super Bowl in person, and I would be fabulous to see who was going to be there. Please. Oh my gosh. We'll be back. We'll be back. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful holiday as we make our way and get into the Christmas holiday. I mean, yes. I'm excited about what could happen. I think Santa has brought me a couple of presents. I got a chance to enjoy some presents, this weekend. But happy holidays to our Interludes family. You guys absolutely are phenomenal. I don't know what's happening with the situation here. Yes, there we go. So happy holidays to the Interludes family. And like I said, we'll be back next year. So much to happen. And then, of course, our episode of Talk on Tuesdays is brought to you by, go back. You're going too fast. Here we go. Interludes Extra presents Find Your Voice on Patreon. Join our community on Patreon today. And that's patreon.com/interludes. And thank you so very much, Mr. Springer, for putting that in the chat. Become a sponsor and book some time with me if you'd like to learn what we do as podcasters.
That's what we do. That's what we do. And then book some time with me if you need to learn a little bit more about the NIL, name, image, likeness for your athlete.
That's what I'm talking about. Coach, we got another one in the bag. Happy holidays.
Hey, sister girl, you already know. Hey, don't meet me there. Beat me there.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Kendrick, for that. He said, appreciate. Good show. Thank you so very much. We'll see you guys pretty soon. Be blessed. Peace.